Plus, I'm Michael Sandlin. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to kick things off with a look at your forecast. Another chillier than average day for May, John, but are things going to warm up anytime soon?
Well, it's still going to be on the cooler side as we welcome in the new week. 65 degrees for your Monday. Cloud cover is going to be on the increase, and that's a sign of rounds of wet weather that will be ahead. Temperatures over the course of your Sunday evening have come close to 70 degrees, a little milder south and west in Henry County, closer to 70 degrees. And Monday, starting off mostly cloudy, some sunshine is briefly possible, with those highs ranging from the low to mid 60s, well below average by the middle of May standards. Now, the next big weather impact is going to be the wet and windy weather pattern. In fact, starting Tuesday, we have several days of damp conditions as well as a chilly east breeze developing and highs only near 60. We are tracking another cutoff low, and that is going to bring us clouds and showers through the week. I'll let you know when we dry out, and also that holiday weekend forecast coming up. Michael?
All right, John, we'll see you then. We're learning former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Representatives of the former president say he was seen by a doctor last week for urinary symptoms before being officially diagnosed on Friday. His team says the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The Biden family say they'll review all treatment options with his physicians. New details tonight in a fatal crash from last night in Whiteford Township in Monroe County. That crash killed 32-year-old Caitlin Ellison from Petersburg. Ellison was a mother of 3 children, ages 13, 7, and 4. She was also 7 months pregnant with her 4th child, who also died in the crash. Coming up on WTOL 11 News at 11, we'll explain how the crash happened according to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Plus, officials have released the name of the victim in a Saturday afternoon crash in Summerfield Township. It's 61-year-old Janet Daniel from Springfield Township. Daniel was involved in a rollover crash after her Jeep Wrangler was rear-ended. That crash is currently under investigation. The first week of the Sean Diddy Combs trial included testimony from ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Cassie read aloud her own explicit messages to Combs, which included texts that showed her interest for the drug-fueled group sex she previously testified left her traumatized. Lawyers for Combs sought to portray Cassie to the jury as a willing and eager participant in the music mogul's sexual lifestyle. Combs has pleaded not guilty to federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Rome Sunday. This comes a day before President Trump is expected to place an important phone call to Russia in an effort to end the war. CBS News has more.
The House Budget Committee will meet late Sunday to try to move President Trump's domestic policy bill towards a floor vote. This comes after 5 Republicans blocked the measure on Friday, saying the bill does not go far enough to reduce spending.
We have to deliver on extending the tax cuts, but getting also the spending cuts necessary to get deficits down.
The 5 Republicans voted with all Democrats against the GOP proposal, which includes $880 billion in cuts to social programs. Republicans hope to win approval of the legislation before the Memorial Day recess. Earlier on Sunday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Rome to discuss a potential end to Russia's war with Ukraine. The men were on hand for Pope Leo's Mass at the Vatican. This comes as President Trump is expected to speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin, reportedly to encourage a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.
We don't have time to waste, so we don't want to be involved in this process of just endless talks. There has to be some progress, some movement forward. Ultimately, one of the things that could help break this logjam, perhaps the only thing that can, is a direct conversation between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. And he's already openly expressed a desire and a belief that that needs to happen.
The president is expected to speak with President Putin at 10 a.m. Eastern Monday morning. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
All new for you tonight, breweries across the country have been raising prices for beer due to inflation, and the ones here in Toledo are no exception. Dominique O'Neill spoke to one in West Toledo and joins us in studio with more. Dom, what did you find out?
Well, Michael, craft breweries like Patron Saints Brewery off of Bancroft have increased the prices on some of their beers to compensate for increased labor and product costs driven by inflation. For instance, one beer that was $6 has now skyrocketed to $8 in the last year. One of their bartenders tell me they make sure to have incentives for customers to try to compensate, such as if they buy 3 cans, you get $1 off on your 4th. Their bartender says they tried to hold off on raising prices as long as they could, but after a certain point, they really had no other choice.
But just recently, a couple of the things got raised $1 just to kind of ease up a little bit, because it had been a long time since he had changed the prices, and it was about time with some of the changes and what costs he was putting into making the beer.
Coming up tonight at 11, we'll hear from some customers who like to patronize breweries in Toledo about if these prices will change their spending habits. Reporting in the newsroom, Dominique O'Neill, WTOL 11.
All right, thanks, Tom. Today, hundreds of bikes took to the streets of Toledo to raise money for kids to have their own bikes. This is the 5th Rat Ride, also known as the Ride Across Toledo, riding a casual 15 miles throughout the town. The event is hosted by the Right Direction Youth Development Program, raising money to provide free bikes to kids in need. Around 380 riders started the course on South St. Clair Street, over the high-level bridge, and ended back at Ernest Brew Works for a block party.
The community itself, what Toledo has done to improve, bikeability of downtown, I guess, this kind of brings awareness to that. When you get this many people riding through the streets, kind of makes you want to get out and get on your bike if you're not already on it, right?
Today's ride will provide around 200 bikes to children this year. To learn how you can help or nominate a child for a bike, visit our Links Mentioned tab over at WTOL.com. Well, if you drove through downtown Toledo today and saw a lot of people walking the streets, you just passed the American Heart Association's Toledo Heart Walk. The goal of the Heart Walk is to raise money to support research for preventing cardiac arrests, heart defects, and high blood pressure. Sari Langford is a survivor who had open heart surgery at just 3 months old. Now she's 10 and happy to be able to walk with other survivors.
It feels great that I'm not in the hospital anymore, and I'm just feeling great and good, and I'm with my family, and super happy with my family, and I feel super special.
And we're super happy for you too. For more information on how to donate, you can go to the Links Mentioned tab of our website, once again at WTOL.com. Girl Scouts in Sylvania are helping their younger classmates read by building new free libraries. When the Girl Scouts of Troop 10664 realized that students at Sylvania schools didn't do enough reading, the troop used their Wilver Award to make a project to build little free libraries to put in front of schools, which will have books available to trade and borrow.
I'm really proud of this group of girls. They did a lot of work, they did a lot of planning, they did a lot of research to figure out what things they should put in their libraries, how to build the libraries. They built it, they painted it. I'm just really proud of all the hard work and effort that went into that and the things they learned from it.
The libraries were then placed at Timberstone Junior High and Central Trail Elementary, and they will also include school supplies and card games. School is almost out and summer is just around the corner. If you're looking for a place to take your kids or grandkids on those hot days, the Savage Splash Pad off of Nebraska Avenue is set to open in a few weeks. City officials say it'll be open June 2nd. Then the city plans to begin construction on a new splash pad and other planned improvements at Savage Park immediately following this year's swim season. And in Maumee, the city announced today Rolfe Park Pool will open at the end of this month. The park has 2 slides, an interactive water play area, and space for diving. Daily hours run from 12:30 to 7:30. Right now, you can still reserve a ticket for a chance to win the St. Jude Dream Home. The $650,000 home is in the Coventry Point subdivision in Perrysburg. And with that ticket, you could also win a 2025 Honda Civic LX from Jim White Honda. Tickets are around $100 because this year's home is once again a zero-cost build. All of the money raised goes directly to supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Just call the number on your screen to reserve your ticket. You can also scan the QR code on your screen. For just $100, you can make a difference in the lives of children facing the diagnosis of cancer and other life-threatening diseases. And finally, today marked the 3rd day of the 48th annual Strongman competition in Sacramento, California, featuring some of the biggest names in the sport. We checked out their impressive feats of strength.
The World's Strongest Man competition was established back in 1977. Now, in its 48th year, it's the third time Sacramento is hosting the event.
This sport is all based around community, and we like to be in a community that we kind of see ourselves in, a community that supports each other, that builds each other up. And that's why we see World's Strongest Man come to places like Sacramento. 25 of the strongest men from all over the world are here competing over 4 days to find out who really is the strongest man of 2025. When we talk about this being a world championship, it truly is. And to even be invited to compete at this contest is a rite of passage of its own.
Our spectators come from all over the world. You've seen people with kilts who have rocked up from Scotland supporting the Stoltmans. They think there's about 1,000 people who are going to be in the stands here on Sunday.
Saturday's big winner for this portion of the competition was Eddie Williams. He was able to lift up these two pillars for the longest.
When someone is doing one of the, stupendous feats, and during the Hercules hold, you had Eddie Williams, the entire crowd is chanting their name and just trying to urge them on for that extra few seconds is just phenomenal.
15-time World's Strongest Man competitor and legend Terry Hollins says there's more to it than just strength.
It's not just about strength, and then obviously you also need the strength of mind as well, because a lot of the stuff takes a lot of focus and drive within yourself to be able to do it. You've got to believe that you can lift these objects.
The World's Strongest Men are down to the last 10 finalists ahead of Sunday's finale. While it is a competition to become the world's strongest man, the support between the athletes is what makes this competition unique.
Strongman as a sport is all about sportsmanship.
These guys are part of a brotherhood. So the second you see one of them finish, they turn around to their buddy and they're cheering them on. They're encouraging them to keep going.
Some of these strong men have been lifting more than 1,000 pounds. Sunday's final competition will wrap up with the classic Atlas stones.
The big cement balls that everybody sees when they think of strongman, loading them onto a platform.
What is up, you guys? This is Chase Bachman with your Sunday Sports Look Ahead. This week we are looking ahead to Game 3 of the Walleyes playoff series versus Kansas City. Toledo is coming off a Game 2 win over the Mavericks. The Walleye right now own a 2-0 series lead. The team is headed back home for at least Games 3 and 4 of the series. Game 3 is Tuesday night. Game 4 is Thursday night. If the Walleye win both, they would sweep the series and move on to the Kelly Cup Finals for the first time since 2022. That's a look ahead to next week in sports. Be sure to follow WTOL 11 for all the latest in local sports news.
And weather-wise, it's been a cloudy and cooler weekend, and this sight is going to continue into the upcoming week. You can see those gray clouds high atop downtown Toledo, and it is expected to be a day with increasing cloud cover once again on Monday. Temperatures are going to be in the middle 60s, and there is going to be an east-northeast wind that develops, and that is a sign of a cooler lake breeze for much of the week. Over the course of your Sunday evening, temperatures have been just shy of 70 degrees, but still a pleasant day so long as you have that light jacket, and Monday is going to be on the cooler side. Mostly cloudy skies and low 50s for the commute and the bus stop. And I do expect afternoon highs to rebound to the mid 60s. A little bit of sunshine is possible, but I wouldn't get your hopes up for a fully sunny day. Temperature wise, it is going to be pleasant, but still almost 10 degrees below average. And Tuesday, that east wind is going to drop those temperatures. In fact, by Tuesday evening, winds off the lake and temperatures in the 50s. Going to feel more like March or April than May. The big weather impact this week is the cooler conditions. Highs are going to struggle to even reach 60 degrees, and cloud cover and showers will be abundant this week. This is what we call an upper level or cutoff low pressure system, and that is going to bring us stubborn clouds as well as periodic showers and well below average conditions. So let's look at the hour by hour forecast. Dry weather on tap for your Monday. By Tuesday, this area of low pressure rolls in, and it's really Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening that will be a washout with persistent showers, and I do expect rain to continue through Wednesday. There is going to be that chilly northeast wind and showers lingering even into the latter half of the work week. Next couple of days, well, keep the jacket and the umbrella handy. Rain moves in Tuesday with east winds developing. Showers most likely late Tuesday.